What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Kevin. I train up in Eau Claire, and the goal of today's video that I wanted to make for you is to teach you some things about how impactful our mind is on our body, how it impacts the way that we go about training in the gym, and how it can help you to achieve some of your fitness goals. So before we dive in, just a little bit of background on me. I am a certified strength and conditioning specialist through the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and that is a very sciencey, very well-researched certification. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a tough process to get, but I also have a 4-year degree in kinesiology, and I have a 4-year degree in physical education as well. So I have a lot of knowledge as far as the science goes, and I wanted to make this video to kind of teach you, right? I'm a teacher, to teach you a little bit about the science behind what we do in the gym, and to help you and give you some practical steps that you can take to apply the science to your own life and to your own goals, so that you can see those goals become a reality. So the concepts that we are going to talk about today, they have to do with the mind, all right? Whether that is consciously or unconsciously, we are going to talk about 3 different concepts that will help you improve your fitness and improve your movements, and hopefully achieve those goals in the process. So the biggest thing to know is that the mind is very, very powerful, all right? But compared to the mind, the body is not so powerful. The mind is the leader, while the body is very much the follower, all right? The way I like to think about it, the mind is that leader, but the body is actually kind of like a plant, all right? And hear me out on this. The body is like a plant, because when you plant a seed in the dirt, you give it some water, you give it some sunshine, that is the right environment for it to grow, right? Our body will very much react to whatever environment that we put it in. So if we are not working out, it's going to adapt to not working out. But when we start working out, or we have been working out for a long time, our body will adapt to that. It'll say, whoa, I need to adapt, and I need to make some improvements. So that is the biggest reason why you would see and feel something like the delayed onset muscle soreness, or the DOMS as the scientific community calls it, when you first start working out. But as you continue to work out, then your body gets more used to it, says, wow, I need to adapt, and you get used to that, so you feel less and less sore as you continue to go. But that's the body. The mind is a little different, all right? The mind actually has enough power to be able to trick the body in a way to thinking that it's in a different environment than it is, to cause it to adapt. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But the biggest thing that all 3 of these concepts that we're going to talk about today, they all have to do with the nervous system. Now, the nervous system is not something that we talk about very often in the gym. In fact, you might not have ever heard us talk about it, but I would actually go out on a limb and say that the nervous system is the most important system that we train, all right? And hear me out on this one. So your brain is connected through neural pathways, through those neurons, spinal cord and your nerves, out to all of your muscles. And it sends signals through those neurons to get your muscles to contract. That moves your bones, and that moves your body, right? Well, if your mind is not connected to your muscles, doesn't matter how much muscle mass you have, you're not going to be able to move properly, efficiently, and in a good manner, so that you're able to move well. So the nervous system is actually something we train every single time that you come in the gym, and it is incredibly, incredibly important. But the thing about the nervous system is that the brain is not connected to every cell in our body, all right, despite what we might think. So the brain is only going to make those connections and make those neural pathways with these cells that we use. So if we haven't been working out for a while, maybe that's, if we're detrained, if we haven't been working out for weeks to months, then your body is not going to be able to reach some of those muscle cells, because it doesn't need to. Again, it's going to adapt to whatever environment that it is put in. So, but as you start working out, your body will increase and build up those neural pathways to reach more and larger muscle cells, so that you get stronger, and so that your body can become more efficiently at recruiting or getting those muscle cells to activate. And in fact, the initial gains that we see, when we first walk in the gym, maybe a week or 2 weeks later, we're feeling stronger, we're feeling better, that delayed onset muscle soreness is going down. I would tell you that almost 100% of these strength gains is neurological. All right, so this will last from about 3 to 5 weeks. So a lot of you might be thinking that, Kevin, I've been working out a lot longer than 3 to 5 weeks. First of all, awesome, 2 thumbs up to you. Proud of you. You've been going at it for a few weeks now, or a few years even for many of you. That is awesome. But the biggest thing is you are still working to improve those neurological pathways, all right? Some of them might be built. Sometimes as you continue to perfect those movement patterns, your body will continuously build new pathways, and it will get better at using those pathways that it's built. So this applies to you no matter what level you're at, if you're just starting in the gym or if you are a pro. Now, why do I tell you all of this, right? Why do you need to know about the nervous system? And I tell you this because you need to truly understand how big of a role the nervous system plays when you are trying to see improvements in the gym and reach those goals. And you don't obviously hear us say things like, oh, let's get those neurons firing today, because A, that doesn't help anybody, and B, that it doesn't even make sense. Like sometimes we can't even cognitively control that. So that's not the way we do it. But the way that you will see this played out in the gym is, for example, on our strength days, when we tell you to lift a heavier weight or go for a couple extra reps, we are working on perfecting those neural pathways, the connection your mind has with the muscles, and improving something called rate coding, which is your mind will send continuous impulses down to get that muscle to contract, and the speed at which those are sent down, that's called rate coding. The faster they go, the stronger that your muscle will be able to contract, the more you'll be able to lift, and the better you'll be able to move. So we are consistently working on things like that in the gym, and especially it comes into play on speed and agility days, on athletic conditioning days as well. So on a lot of different days, those neurological adaptations will come into play. So after those neurological pathways, that baseline has been set after those first few weeks, or that can even last a lot longer, then your body will start to truly develop those muscle cells. It will increase the size, which is called hypertrophy, and it'll say we need more protein, we need more just ingredients to build up these muscle cells so that we can truly adapt to the environment that our mind is putting us through, or whether we're physically doing it as well. So the bottom line is that these neurological adaptations, the importance of the nervous system when it comes to training, super important for you to know when it comes to your experience in the gym. And it's also important for you to kind of understand while we go through these 3 concepts, because they all relate back to that nervous system. The first one we're going to talk about is something I know you've heard before, that is the mind-muscle connection. Now, this concept of the mind-muscle connection was made popular by the bodybuilders, but truly it's important for anyone who is working out or looking to make any sort of strength gains. So this concept relates to the idea of cognitively and consciously thinking about the muscle that you are using while you are trying to work that muscle. So for example, if you're doing a biceps curl, right? You are thinking about focusing on those biceps. That's what you're trying to get stronger. So you're thinking about taking your triceps away, and you're thinking about curling those dumbbells up or whatever we are using for that day, and really getting a solid squeeze in that muscle. That would be something that falls under the mind-muscle connection. So science has been a little skeptical of this, but some recent studies have come out that have shown its true effectiveness. The first one is Brad Schoenfeld, and he and his colleagues, he put out a study in 2018, and it focused on 2 different groups. They followed the same workout plan, but one group was given internal cues, or focusing on squeezing the muscle, while the other one was focused on external cues, or things like getting the weight up, or focusing on how your body is moving in space. Both of these groups did an 8-week training program. They did the exact same thing. They're just thinking about different things. They both did this training program. Both of them were based on the biceps and the quadriceps. So they were trying to get stronger in the biceps and your quadriceps, which are those muscles on the top, the big ones on the front of your thighs. And they were going to measure the size of the muscles when it comes to hypertrophy and muscle gain. So the results showed from this study after those 8 weeks that biceps was increased, the size was increased, their strength was increased, but the quads did not show any sort of improvement. They may have, but it was not statistically significant. So what does this mean? The researchers came up with this conclusion. and that is that the mind-muscle connection should be used for any sort of single joint isolation exercises. So that key for you is that if you hear the muscle name within the exercise, that is your cue to use a mind-muscle connection for that. So things like bicep curls, tricep extension. I will tell you right now, lateral raises, anything like that, yes, focus on those shoulders, okay? Shoulder press, chest press, maybe, all right? Those kind of things, calf raises, you are focusing on those muscles. But for compound exercises, and that was kind of relative to where the quads did not see growth, those are a little bigger and more compound. Those compound exercises like the squat, like the deadlift, those type of exercises, I would not use the mind-muscle connection for. I would focus on how your body is moving through space or getting that weight up, because those are going to be a little heavier. And if you're focusing only on specific muscles, it's going to be hard for your body and your mind to keep track of a whole bunch of muscles. So if you're using less muscles, use that mind-muscle connection. If you're doing a compound exercise like squats or deadlifts, don't, just focus on moving that weight. Now, number 2 is something that I bet a lot of you have not heard of, and that is called potentiation, all right? Now, this concept is probably best described just through an example. So imagine that you are moving houses. You're moving to a new house and you put everything in boxes. You see 3 boxes in your driveway that you got to put into the moving truck. Those are the last 3, right? You look at the first one, or you look at all 3 of them, and they are labeled bricks. For some reason, you need bricks over at your new house, right? So you have bricks, you get ready, you get your body ready, you lift that box, it's super heavy, but you're able to bring it over and put it in the truck, okay? You go back, grab number 2, second box of bricks, you pick it up, wobble it on over, and put it into that truck. And number 3, bricks, here we go. You pick it up and you almost fly backwards, and out of the box comes some pillows, all right? That is a great example of what potentiation really is. You potentiated your muscles and your nervous system to go into overdrive based upon the heavy weights that you lifted previously. And what that resulted in was a super, super fast and powerful contraction on a lighter weight, all right? That gets us stronger, that gets us a lot faster. So that is basically potentiation in a nutshell. Now, an important piece of this concept is lifting the heavy weights first and then moving to the lighter weights, because that potentiates the muscles. It gets those muscles ready and it primes the nervous system. It gets that body ready so that it can lift the light weights at a high speed, all right? But if you don't have the light weights, you're working out at home right now, right? Sometimes all you have is a soup can. You can kind of use your mind to trick your body into thinking that you did just lift a heavy weight. So in order to do this, you need to take those soup cans and imagine that your trainer just gave you some super heavy weights in the gym. So you have to imagine, use your mind, that they are the heaviest weights that you could possibly do for whatever given rep range, all right? It's going to make it a lot harder, and your body is going to actually work harder to do those lighter weights, but your main focus is that they're heavier, but you want to move them as fast as possible, okay? Going for speed, going for quickness on those reps. Now, what that doesn't mean is that you should be cranking out bicep curls like this as fast as you can. What that means is imagining it's a heavy weight and coming up to squeeze nice and tough. And number 3, the last one, probably a lot of you have heard of this one, but it is the concept of visualization, okay? Visualization. Now, I always grew up hearing about Kobe Bryant and his ability to visualize, and he would actually have some visualizing sessions where all he would do is just sit in his chair or be on the court and just imagine himself going through different scenarios on the court in the game, different plays that he would know to go through, how his shot would work, anything like that. And it actually has been proven repeatedly through science that it improves performance. So using visualization or imagery can really help him, but it can also really, really help you, especially when it comes to strength gains and accomplishing those goals. So the study that I wanted to bring to your attention today for visualization is the Shackle and Standing study from 2007. These guys had 30 college age kids. They put 10, 10, 10 into 3 different groups, And one of the groups did physical training for only 2 weeks. They were working on strength of their hip flexors. So things like that bring your knee up to, I know you guys couldn't see that, but bring your knee up to your chest. So those are your hip flexors. So one group did the physical work for 2 weeks. One group did nothing. All right, so they did absolutely nothing. They said can't come back at the very end. And then the third group did nothing, except they only imagined themselves performing the same amount of reps as the physical group actually performed. And what the study found was that the increase in strength for the physical group was 28%. They got 28% stronger. The group that did nothing obviously had no statistical significance. There was nothing to report there, just like we would expect. All right, so both of those are predicted. But the third group, the mental group that they didn't do anything physical, they only focused on mentally going through those reps, they saw an increase in strength of 24%. All right, so 28% physical and 24% for the mental group. So what does that mean? Does that mean you can stop coming to the gym and you'd only lose out on 4% as long as you're imagining yourself putting in those reps every day? No, that's not truly what it means. It's a great example of how powerful the mind truly is to tricking your body into thinking that it's in a new environment. How can you use in a practical way the information from that study and from the concept of visualization? Well, when you're at home, and you are not doing a workout, you can definitely think about those exercises that you want to improve. So I always like to take a pull-up, for example. A lot of ladies have that goal to get to a pull-up or increase their ability to do multiple pull-ups, right? Or get to a lower band, whatever your goal might be. But the trick is when you're at home, it doesn't take you actually doing pull-ups, but thinking about doing those pull-ups. How does it feel when your back is contracting? How does it feel when you're trying to raise your body up to that bar? Go through a few reps of that, okay? Take your time, really focus in. If you're just kind of thinking about, oh, okay, I'm gonna think about pull-ups right now, and you're just going through the motions like that, that's not gonna see those gains. But continuously thinking about and truly getting into that zone of doing those pull-ups is going to help your body and your mind get to that next level, and you'll actually see progress a little bit sooner, especially most importantly when you combine it with those physical workouts to practice those pull-ups. So those are 3 concepts that have to do with the mind. Let me quickly wrap this up. So use the mind-muscle connection when you are doing single joint exercises and anything that has the name of the muscle in that exercise. So glute bridges, calf raises, hamstring curls, quad extensions, anything like that, you would definitely want to use the mind-muscle connection. But if you're doing compound exercises like, dumbbell thrusters or squats or deadlifts or anything like that, then focus on how your body is moving through space as opposed to specific muscles. Number 2, potentiation. Imagine yourself when you're at home, or especially even if you're in the gym and you can't get to those quite heavy weights, I want you to think about and imagine that you're lifting those heavy weights, and I want you to move it as quickly as possible, even if it's not that heavy weight, even if it's a little bit lighter. Move it as quickly as possible to trick your body into thinking that you are lifting those heavier weights. That's potentiation. And number 3, use that visualization trick at home. Imagine whatever exercise you want to get better at, really focus in, get to that zone, think about yourself. How does it feel? What does it look like? All of that kind of stuff will help your body to truly believe that, hey, I can do this. I can form those new neural pathways. I can build muscle so I can get prepared for when I'm doing that physical work to see those true results. So, like I said before, the nervous system is incredibly powerful. Your mind has an incredible ability to impact the way that your body moves and adapts to the environment. And I hope you learned something today. I hope you have some tangible tools and practical steps that you can take into the gym or into your home workouts right now. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Kevin Jensen. You can find me on Facebook. Send me a message. I'll hit you back, and it'll be hopefully I can help you out the best way that I can. But thanks so much for tuning in. I hope all of you have a great day and keep crushing those home workouts.